Thanks for sticking with us here on KXAN Live. Will Dupree back at the KXAN Live studio. The meeting that Travis County Commissioners are holding is beginning now. They again are going to be hearing from groups about intervention efforts to prevent gun violence in our community. The three groups speaking today include these that you see on your screen. Let's listen in now as that meeting begins again in Travis County.
Say thanks so much for coming here, Mr. Kerr, for coming in person. Really appreciate that, and I know that you don't normally live in Austin, so thank you for being here for this. And really appreciate all of y'all taking the time to be here to join us for this briefing. So this is the second of three briefings that we're getting on gun violence prevention related efforts. We had one on Thursday with folks from the ATF, and then today, and then we'll have one more. The goal is to provide the court with a better understanding of a particular evidence-based program that also fits into the overall gun violence reduction ecosystem that we're just trying to learn a little bit more about today. Commissioner Trevelyan, I'll turn it over to you.
Well, I just appreciate you all coming together and recognizing how serious these times are. We are really in a community crisis. You can't look at TV at night and not hear about what's going on 6th Street, what's going on in our communities, what's going on in our neighborhoods. It seems that we live in a state where it is easier to get a gun than a permit to vote, and that is a dangerous time to me. We have got to look at this holistically. We have got to look at how we build our community policing efforts. We've got to make sure that we are building the type of intervention system that allows us to reach out to our kids, into our communities early and often. So the recommendations that you bring to us, the ideas that you're putting in front of us, we really look forward to, because we understand that I did not even know that jugging was a thing. I found out that people will follow you when you go to the ATM, follow you home, and then hold you at gunpoint, and I didn't know that was a thing. We are living in dangerous times, and we need tools to address them. So when we all get together and work together and use those ideas to inform programs, I think that our community will be better off for it. So I'm going to push this over to our DA, who has done a wonderful job of making sure that we recognize things that we can act on, and we take the opportunity to do so. So thank you for being your DA, Garza, and I look forward to working with you as we work on community.
Absolutely. Well, thank you, Commissioner Trevelyan. Thank you, Judge Brown, and members of the court. Once again, really grateful for your time and for your leadership. I want to take just 2 minutes to situate our discussion today in the context of the broader work that the county has been doing over the last several months and years. Over the last year and a half, the Travis County District Attorney's Office has prioritized addressing increasing incidents of gun violence in our community. And in the fall of last year, our office made our strategy to do just that public. We made clear that we would be focusing our resources on solving and prosecuting acts of gun violence, and with your support, we are. But we have also talked about the fact that if we are serious about ending violence in our community, particularly gun violence, we must do all we can to prevent that violence before it happens. This June, the District Attorney's Office, Judge Brown, Commissioner Trevelyan, and our colleagues from the City of Austin hosted a gun violence prevention summit. We learned about the Office of Violence Prevention created by the City of Austin in 2019 and the community-based violence intervention program the City of Austin is pursuing. We also discussed other aspects of a comprehensive strategy to reduce gun violence in our community. Last week here in Commissioner's Court, we started to learn about those strategies. We started by learning about one of the tools that I believe law enforcement and prosecutors in our county need to hold people accountable who commit acts of gun violence. We learned about the ATF's NIBIN program. We learned that when a firearm is used in a shooting, that firearm will likely be used in subsequent shootings. We learned that this program can help us to identify that firearm more quickly and prevent it from being used in future crimes. We learned that there is currently a backlog in the City of Austin's NIBIN program. We learned that local law enforcement agencies throughout Travis County don't have access to that program. And we learned that Travis County could establish a NIBIN program at no cost through state and federal grant funding. Today we'll be learning about the overall community and health-based ecosystem that we need to build to break cycles of violence and prevent gun violence in the future. We will specifically learn about health system-based strategies to interrupt violence, and we're going to start by meeting first David Mohammed. Mr. Mohammed is the Executive Director of the National Institute for Criminal Justice Reform. He is a leader in a Biden administration task force on gun violence prevention, and in that role he is working in 16 cities across the country, including our own. We will also meet Keelan Henderson, who is the Violence Reduction Program Manager at the National Institute for Criminal Justice Reform, and he previously worked as a community engagement coordinator for the city of Stockton. And if I can, I'd love to turn it over to Mr. Mohammed and Mr. Henderson if they are on.
I see Kyle Fisher on here. I don't know that I see them yet.
David Mohammed is not on, but Kaylin Henderson and Kyle Fisher are on the virtual connections.
Okay. Do you want to, should we go out of order?
Well, if we can, maybe start with Mr. Henderson.
Okay.
Yeah, absolutely. Hopefully you guys can hear me well. Keelan Henderson, as you said, program manager for the National Institute for Criminal Justice Reform. Really I would start off by saying just quickly, NICJR really has two arms. As Jose mentioned, we specialize in providing gun violence reduction strategy training and technical assistance to cities and jurisdictions across the country, including, of course, Austin, working directly alongside Michelle Miles and her team there. Through that work, we also produce reports like the cost of violence reports and the gun violence problem analysis report. But we also have our national OVP network, where we convene OVPs across the country regularly, really providing light touch TA and provide sort of a gathering of sorts to discuss best practices. And we also try to promote peer learning and exchange. And then we have our advocacy arm, which is really just, it's in the name, criminal justice reform and juvenile justice reform efforts as well. I think what I'd like to touch on really quick is, while in the spirit of collaboration between agencies and departments, is really this importance in having really strong coordination, which is needed to make any gun violence reduction strategy work, quite frankly. Not sure if we can get the slide up now. The gun violence reduction strategy cycle slide. Can that be presented now?
Maybe. Let's see if we can get that up. Joyce, is that something you'll have? Looks like it's starting up. There it is. Can you see that?
There we go.
Keelan?
There we go. There we go. Yeah, I can.
Okay.
I can see a little bit, but it looks like that's what it is. All right. So what I really wanted to talk about, though, there we go, is really focus on this cycle, right? And these are some critical points and pieces that need to be included in having a really strong GVRS system. And so you really want to start off with the gun violence problem analysis. Many of you have heard a little bit about what that entails, but let me just say briefly, that is a report and analysis typically of, homicides within the last 2 years and non-fatal injury shootings within the last year. And we really sort of take the information and data and determine what are the risk factors for individuals who have been involved, whether they were victims of homicides or non-fatals or perpetrators as well. And so you come up with these risk factors so that we can, identify those who are at the highest risk of being victims or perpetrators of gun violence. And we recommend that most cities and counties start with that, right? Because you really want to point your efforts in the right direction to make sure you're working with the right people in the right way. And from that, we also recommend implementing a shooting review or a meeting with law enforcement that sort of discusses all incidents that have happened, all gun violence and shooting incidents that have happened within the last 7 days. So in many ways, this is 2 ways that data is informing the work. One, again, as the sort of analysis report, and 2, these shooting reviews, these law enforcement meetings that happen regularly every week, looking at the previous incidents of gun violence. And, in this conversation at these shooting review meetings, it is very much, who was involved, who is going to have a pending arrest, and who may not have been involved, but may have been has an association with the individuals who were involved, who were shot at or who were shot. And so from this meeting comes 2 really big pieces of information that is provided to 2 different groups of folks, right? And so obviously those with pending arrest would fall on law enforcement, and they would move forward with what they do in terms of providing public safety and arresting those who need to be arrested. But then the other piece of that information would fall to community-based organizations that are tasked with sort of dispatching community violence intervention or interruption workers. And so that really kind of pours into a 3rd meeting called the coordination meeting, right? This meeting is a meeting where the community-based organizations and CVI groups are convening regularly to discuss the information that was provided that came out of the shooting review. And it is to discuss individuals who are high risk, who have the likelihood of retaliating based off of that incident, right? And so again, in this meeting, community violence interrupters, credible messengers, outreach workers are dispatched to engage with these high-risk individuals to get ahead of any retaliation or any future acts of violence. After that engagement has been sort of initiated, we recommend that there is direct and respectful communication. Like, what does the messaging look like? Well, it looks like, one that is very respectful, and we do that in one of 2 ways. We do it in a way where it's a sort of personalized meeting called a custom notification, right? Where this message is shared that says, hey, listen, we care about you. We're concerned about you. We want to see you live. We also want to see you change your life for the better. And here are services and opportunities for you to do just that. And the second type of messaging is called a call-in, which is essentially the same thing, but this is more sort of group focused, and it includes more than one person, typically 7 to 9 individuals. And in this meeting, this space, there's very few law enforcement, but it also includes a faith-based leader, community leaders from the school district. You have representatives from, other CBOs, organizations that can provide work and jobs. They are there in this space as well. From that comes assignments to outreach, right? And so, again, we're talking about this system and what it takes to make it work. And so I would also say that, the dispatching that happens is not just, hey, go and talk to this person and come back and let me know what they say, but this is very much structured and organized and deliverable based. And so there's performance management sort of metrics that are included in all of this. And so you assign an outreach worker to do this work, and then have that outreach worker then report back and let us know if an engagement has been made, where that happened, if the individual is open to receiving services. I'm going to move very quickly because I think I only have a couple more minutes left, but I also want to include the importance of having an intensive life coach or case manager. And so after the individual has been engaged, you then want to work with them in a way where short-term and long-term goals are then sort of achieved. And they do that with a life coach or a case manager. You connect them with services and supports, but then you also have that focused supervision and enforcement, right? And so that is for, individuals who unfortunately will, continue in their involvement around gun violence. And so law enforcement certainly has its place. But we do think that if you focus, law enforcement efforts on the right people in the right way, you definitely can, increase public safety, but you also can decrease the footprint of law enforcement. And so we think you can do that, the both and do it at the same time. And the last piece is that performance management, right? It is this cycle must be continual, must be followed, must be checked to make sure that all these pieces are being performed correctly and accurately in order for this GVRS strategy to actually work. And so I'll stop there. And I don't know if we're going into questions, but I'll certainly stay on the line if questions are going to be done at the end.
Thank you, Keelan.
And I would defer to the court, obviously, if you want to ask questions as you go or wait till the end. I think we do not have Mr. Muhammad on yet, is that right?
Correct.
And then I'm just going to move to introduce you to Dr. Kyle Fisher and Mr. Norman Livingston Kerr. Dr. Fisher is the policy director for the HAVI. And as you heard, the HAVI is a national network that assists with the establishment of hospital-based violence intervention programs. Dr. Fisher also practices as an emergency physician and fellowship director in health policy with the University of Maryland School of Medicine. And Mr. Kerr serves as the CVI ecosystem director at the HAVI, where he designs and implements health-based violence prevention strategies in cities across the country. Previously, Mr. Kerr served as the assistant deputy mayor for public safety in the city of Chicago's mayor's office. Mr. Kerr and Mr. Fisher, please take us away.
Sure. Good afternoon, everyone. I'm going to start, and then I'll pass it over to Dr. Fisher. First, I just want to say it's a pleasure to be here, and one, to hear that you guys are being proactive and taking steps necessary to mitigate violence here. We've been having these conversations around the country, and some cities aren't even at this space where they acknowledge what the issue is and are willing to do something about it. But what we're seeing is that these trends are spreading like wildfire across the country. Similarities in big cities, small cities. What we know is that we have to go directly to this population that's involved. So we'll go with our first slide here. So just to give some context, the CDC has put out some data on, the impact of violence on young people, for instance. And we know that homicide is the leading cause of death for black males now, between the ages of 15 to 34. It wasn't that way 10 years ago. The second cause for Latino males, 15 to 24, combined with structural racism, disparities in social determinants of health, limited research on violence prevention as well. And this last point, I want to focus on it for a second. Violence is a public health issue because it is a leading cause of morbidity and death. And when I think about a leading cause of death and it being an epidemic, right, a pandemic, we think about COVID. Just think about how we responded to COVID. In Chicago, every city department responded to COVID in a certain way. It wasn't just law enforcement or the medical community. Schools, libraries, parks, everybody had a response toward COVID. And when we're looking at a public health issue as violence, everybody has to have a response. It's not just about law enforcement. And that's typically where it lands, is that people say the police should handle it. This is way beyond police. This is generational trauma. This is mental health issues, economic issues, all these other things that are combined, and we're hoping that law enforcement can solve that in a short amount of time. It's not going to happen. This has been going on for decades. So our approach is to have a comprehensive approach. We go to the next slide here. Yes, we're looking at risk factors. So these increase the likelihood of people being involved, right? So a lack of, the risk factors are a lack of everything that you can name of. There's economic issues, intergenerational poverty, physical environments. There's spaces available, but they are unhealthy. People don't utilize them because they're unsafe. Socio-cultural, low social cohesion, low political efficacy, exposure to violence, ACEs, all these things. On the other side, protective factors, strong economics, restorative justice, the physical environment is clean and safe, and we have communities that are building and healing. That's where we want to get to. That's where we've seen some affluent communities, they have some of these structures in place. And this is how communities will thrive if they have these factors built in. So when we talk about the community violence intervention ecosystem, we're talking about not just responding to incidents or individuals, we're talking about a more comprehensive. So the gun violence reduction strategy that Keelan was talking about, street outreach, these are individuals who, many of them have lived experience, they've spent time in prison for their crimes, they know the streets, and the individuals who are involved in shooting now, they can mitigate those conflicts because of their relationships, because of their reputations in the past, but they're on a different path now. And they utilize their credibility to help stop those incidents. The hospital-based violence intervention, which Dr. Fisher will talk about in a second in detail, peace fellowships, other things as well. Our next slide goes into what does it really take? Who's involved? Who are the stakeholders? Street outreach, the faith community, schools, mental health providers, elected officials, hospitals, law enforcement, the list goes on and on. Community-based organizations, offices of violence prevention. And I hear that you guys have an office here. That's wonderful. Many cities don't. I worked at the Office of Violence Reduction in Chicago for 2 years, and it was a central place where we could coordinate responses to incidents of violence, coordinate services. If you don't have one in your city, it's going to be challenging, and I'm glad you guys have one here. Businesses and philanthropy, these are individuals and groups that all have to be a part of this conversation and a part of this approach. We need all the residents as well. Just to break down the ecosystem a little bit, I talked about the highest risk, and this is the population that is the most violent. If you are trying to see changes in violence, you have to go to the population that's doing the shooting right now. Not the population is going to shoot 10 years from now because they're on that trajectory. You want to focus on the spectrum, I believe in that. But the group right now, and when we relate this to COVID, this is a group that's infected right now. What are we doing with people who are infected with COVID? We're getting them vaccinated, we're quarantining them, we're keeping them away from others. It's the same philosophy. We have to go to the group that's most violent. The right people have to be the ones that approach them. Anybody just can't go to them and say, hey, put the gun down, do something different. It's got to be somebody that they trust. You build a trust, but somebody that they know has been in the streets like they have. These are the credible messengers. These are the folks that have the ability, what we call it license to operate, LTO. They can move around through neighborhoods because they're respected and they know the streets. Provide individualized wraparound care. What do they need? To get somebody to change their behavior and say, don't shoot anymore, what are you giving them? Employment, support, mental health, things that can help their families. There's got to be something. They're not just going to drop what they're doing because you said, well, you're going to get arrested if you don't do it. They've been hearing that forever. But there's got to be some real tangible opportunities that they can get into so they can make that change. And we have to be persistent. This is not just a one-time thing. We got to be bugging them, knocking on their doors, constantly making these resources available for them. Now, what we've seen in Chicago, for instance, law enforcement has relied on these teams because they understand that they can't arrest everyone and lock everyone up. There has to be a change in behavior. And if these programs can help, they are going to be in full support. And we want to monitor progress and transform systems. So what are the long-term relationships? What are policy changes that are necessary? What we've seen now in Chicago and other places is that most African-American men have had some sort of interaction with the criminal justice system. So they are limited in their opportunities to work, to engage in different educational opportunities and other resources. And there's been a lot of policy changes to accommodate that because we understand that if these groups aren't getting supported, they may resort to something else. So this gives you just a basic idea of the ecosystem. It's going to take all of us to play a role in addressing this issue, not just one group in particular or one effort. The hospital violence intervention is another component that I want to pass to Dr. Fisher really quickly so he can get into detail as far as what this does and how it interacts with this ecosystem.
Excuse me 1 second.
Yes, sir.
I really want to ask this question. You know, we have really worked our contracts out to help train people. We help put together 1,000 scholarships for kids so that if they want to get a CDL or something, we pay for it. Now, but the groups that are able to reach, the difficult to reach groups, aren't the groups that are writing proposals to get this done. So now, how did you in Chicago, or how do we in urban areas create an environment so that those groups that actually have access to the people can either work through an existing program, or did you design a specific program to make sure that the folks who aren't used to addressing key performance indicators, how do we get the folks that we really need to get to the table, and how do we explain that in a way that it is actionable from a contractual standpoint?
It's a really great question, and it's a challenge that we're seeing across the country right now, because the groups that are getting funded are the groups that are the loudest right now. Maybe they've been around for years asking for dollars, writing proposals, but they may not be able to meet that population that's the most violent. So that's the tricky part of it, is in some places there are groups that have already been doing this work for 10 years and they just haven't been resourced. They haven't been supported because the leadership doesn't really know about them. What we've been doing is, when we're going across the country, we're identifying what those smaller groups are that have the connections to these individuals. And we're not talking about young people. We're talking about individuals who are up in even to their late 30s, early 40s, who are the most violent. The point is, we have to go after the groups that are the most violent. And it takes a lot of research on the street to know who's who and who has those relationships. It's not necessarily the groups that are in your face, you know, saying that they have a program, because what we've seen, the trends around that is those are the groups that are working with a younger population. That's needed also, but it shouldn't take away from working with the older group that's the most violent right now. So there's a lot of vetting that has to be done with the groups that are saying that they do this work to make sure that they actually reach this population. But it's something that can be done, and we've seen it be successful.
And the only other thing I would say is I agree that we need to work with the most violent groups, because that is an immediate problem. But I think, you know, the most effective system that I've seen is working with kids pre-K through 12, so that they don't make that decision in 7th or 8th grade.
Exactly.
The school is working for me, or I got to scramble. So we need to do both.
It's not an or, exactly, sir. It's an and, for sure.
Dr. Fisher?
Thank you so much. And please let me know if anyone has trouble in the courtroom hearing me today. I'm Kyle Fisher. I'm the policy director at the Javi. I've been in this role roughly since 2014, and I'm an emergency physician at the University of Maryland, where we have the Shock Trauma Center, which is sadly way too busy. So what are hospital-based violence intervention programs? On the left on my screen, you see a picture of a man named Sherman Spears. Sherman lived in Oakland, California, and in the early 90s, unfortunately, he got shot. And as he was laying in his hospital bed at Highland Hospital, he noticed that doctors, you know, people like me, were doing their best, patching up his wounds and tending to all of the physical elements. But there was so much more going on in his life that needs to be resolved in order for him to have a full physical and psychological recovery. And at the same time, while he's laying there in his hospital bed, he has friends and family members that are coming to him and saying, hey, what do you want us to do about this? You know, people going in the opposite direction of what he needs for recovery. And that's when he realized that there had to be a better system, that the healthcare system wasn't addressing the needs that he had. So actually, Sherman and one of his nurses collaborated and started the first hospital-based violence intervention program in the country that still lives on to this day, called Youth Alive. Wow. Since then, this type of program has spread throughout the nation. We had our first national conference back in 2009 where 8 programs that had started organically on their own in different parts of the country came together. And now at present, we have roughly 50 member programs in the Health Alliance for Violence Intervention, as well as roughly that same amount of programs that are just up and starting. So we're really pleased with the trajectory of this. But, what does that actually look like in practice? Well, here's a very oversimplified diagram. We should call these our kind of 4 steps towards hospitalized violence intervention. First is when someone is injured and in the hospital, we provide that crisis intervention, de-escalation, conflict mediation. Second, we ensure that patients get high-quality trauma-informed care while they're in the hospital and afterwards, so that it's not just people patching up their wounds and getting them on their way, but realizing that there are profound effects of traumatic experiences, post-traumatic stress, things like that, and we are getting people started on that trajectory as well. Third, we know from decades of research that patients that have been violently injured are disconnected from traditional institutions. So most of these patients may not have insurance, likely don't have primary care doctors, need lots of social services. So we make comprehensive needs assessments and make sure that we are getting people those, getting them mental health services, substance abuse counseling, all of those things. And then fourth, we work with patients longitudinally. So it's not we treat you in the hospital, discharge you, and then we're done. No. People that come in our programs are with us for 6 months, 12 months, however long it takes for them to fully recover. And we address those higher level social determinants of health to make sure that we do everything that we need to do to make sure that patients have a full physical, psychological recovery. Because we know if we don't, the old model of, treat them and street them doesn't work. And how do I know that? Well, this is a study done by a criminologist named Michael Green. And this is 19 different studies that just ask the simple question, how many people come back to the hospital with another gunshot wound if they came in once? And you can see on the far right, in one study, 62% of people came back. 62%. On the far left, the best case scenario is 8%. And the majority came, around 25, 35% or so. Imagine that. These are generally 20, 30-year-old guys that don't have high blood pressure, diabetes, cholesterol, all those other medical risk factors, but have life-threatening injuries that are coming back to the hospital with that. Clearly, if this were any other medical condition, it would be unacceptable. So, do our programs work? Well, luckily we have a number of different studies pointing to our effectiveness. We have 3 randomized controlled trials that are in the medical literature. Carnell Cooper's trial from Baltimore found that in the orange is the control group, the blue is the intervention group, found that people that didn't get anything, they had 36% re-injury, in the program 5%. Similarly in Chicago with Les Sun, down from 20% to 8%, and Michelle Abitanos in Virginia from 6 to 5. That trial, there were some quirks to it. You notice that the re-injury rates is lower for both groups than every other group in the previous slide. But, I'm an academic, got to include everything. Shortly after those randomized controlled trials, universities and other research organizations decided that it was unethical to do randomized controlled trials and offer one group lots of services and the other, ticket for a referral. So most of our trials since then have been observational and following up on patients after they've been in it. And you can see here in the blue are what the re-injury rates have been for these patients in some of these other trials. And most of them are falling at 4 or 5% roughly in there. The bottom graph that you see, that's just for comparison. That's that Michael Green criminologist review that I mentioned before. And the orange there was that very best study of the 8% re-injury rate. And you can see that the other three, every single one is lower than the best in the others. So we have great evidence that this works. I'd like to tell you a little bit about why it works, right? The main reason, to be totally honest with anyone that does this work, and Norman already kind of alluded to this just now, is the vital role of our violence prevention professionals. Violence prevention professionals, you may have heard of them by other names, sometimes by violence interrupters, credible messengers, violence intervention specialists, lots of different names. But the core of it is that we make sure that we hire people that have lived experience in the communities that they serve. They're from the community, look like the community, talk like they're from the community. A lot, if not many or most of these patients have a history of being violently injured themselves. Many have a history of justice involvement. But we screen and recruit people that have made it to a place in their life when they're looking to harness that experience for good and to help other patients that are in similar roles to them. So they really can help walk with the patients through their recovery and longitudinally, right? Like I said, 6 months, 12 months, all of our VPPs will tell us that, even if patients graduate, they never really are completely disconnected. They still text and stay in touch, but they're the ones that are walking people through these journeys and making sure that everything that needs to happen happens. And as a result, these individuals are really the glue that makes the system work. And they connect these patients that are cut off from traditional systems into everything that they need. And I raise up, particularly mental health services. It is a critical need that all of our patients have. And, I want to be really, really clear on this. A lot of times politicians and other people, when they talk about violence and mental health, they kind of accidentally get it correct, but for the wrong reasons a lot of times. So when we hear about violence and the need for mental health, it usually is not in the way that we traditionally think of things. It's not people that are crazy, people that are violently injured. It's not usually those serious mental illnesses like things like bipolar or schizophrenia or schizoaffective disorder. It's post-traumatic stress disorder, post-traumatic stress. Because it turns out that the human brain does not differentiate between a gunshot wound that is sustained in Afghanistan and one that takes place in Austin. The human body reacts the same, and we have these symptoms of traumatic stress when people recover from that. Something like 80% of survivors of gunshot wounds will recover from traumatic stress. And this affects people in all aspects of life. They don't feel safe leaving their house because they're having flashbacks and they feel jumpy and they're anxious. They can't sleep at night. There's anxiety and depression and all these other things that are exceedingly difficult. And these are patients that, if people that have been shot, they're not the people that are going to counselors, right? They're not booking psychiatrist visits. It's not something that is happening. But the violence prevention professionals get these services to those people and do it in ways that are culturally competent. And it turns out that it works, right? So hospitalized violence intervention is so much more than re-injury and retaliation. And frequently that is what our programs tend to get judged on, which is fair. We are doing this because we don't want people to get shot and we don't want people shooting other people. But for the patients that are involved in these programs, their needs are so broad that we really need to talk about what we're able to address. So in our violence intervention programs, mental health needs end up being one of the biggest things that people, the clients report having needs for. And 73 to 85% of those needs, when patients are in the programs, they report that they feel like they're addressed. You can also see other direct services, things like family counseling, 81% Substance abuse, we get people into that 61%. There's other mental health needs, and then other things such as employment, education, childcare, court advocacy. These are needs that we're meeting in high levels that are touching all sectors of society. Going back to that theme that we've already raised like about 5 times in the last 30 minutes, that it is a all hands on deck approach, and that we all need to be involved. And this is an approach where our violence prevention professionals really stick with the patient and help them recover, but also our connections to all these other sectors as well to ensure that we're all working together and doing things well. So that's my very, very brief overview, and we're very, very happy to take as many questions as you'd like. Thank you.
Thanks, Kyle. You want to hear from the last presenter first? Okay, Nicole.
And I think briefly, I'm excited to introduce you. Many of you know to Nicole Golden, the executive director of Texas Gun Sense, and a co-founder of Austin Moms Demand Action. Nicole has been fighting to reduce and end gun violence in our community for well over a decade, and is going to talk a little bit, put our work in a little bit of context today.
Thank you, DA Garza, and thanks to all you commissioners and Judge Brown for having us today and talking about this with such thoughtfulness. And I really appreciate all the speakers, and I think they laid it out so well. I learned a lot, and so I certainly won't go over again what they went over. They provided the context for how these programs work and why they're so important. Part of why I'm glad to be here is to talk from the point of view of the leader of the only gun violence prevention nonprofit founded in Texas, and we take that role really seriously. We are, small but bold organization. We work with our own ecosystem of, state and local advocates working to reduce and prevent gun violence across the state and in the city. And you all know that the battle is an uphill one. We've been around almost 10 years, and mostly focused at the state level, trying to advance policy, and it's gotten harder. You all know that we're mired in divisiveness here at the Capitol, and though we go there every session with a coalition of advocates that we lead, survivors of gun violence, people impacted, we are met with a lot of resistance for reasons outside of our control, and I think that provides the context for why it's so important that at the local level and community level, at all levels of government, we are all committed and invested in preventing this crisis. And the crisis has been escalating. So while the state has abdicated its responsibility, we have seen escalating rates of gun violence. Giffords reported that gun homicides overall have increased steadily in Texas over the last decade, rising over 90% from 2011 to 2020. In 2020, as you know, we have a bit of a lag, so I don't have the data from yesterday, but the most recent CDC data from 2020 reported that there were over 4,000 gun deaths in Texas. That is an increase. And here locally, according to a recent report from the medical examiner's office, guns are the #1 cause of homicides and suicides here. And last year in 21, 80% of homicides and 48% of all suicides in the county involved guns. So clearly we know that there's a crisis that we have to solve. And you all know too, but I always want to make sure the community knows that, and it's really more important than ever to mention, that mass shootings are horrific and they grab our national attention. We just experienced that, with our neighbors in Uvalde just a few months ago, and are going to be processing that for forever. But there's daily gun deaths that don't hit national headlines, that don't grab the attention of your constituents and everybody else across the state, but they deserve our attention. They make up the bulk of the gun violence crisis, interpersonal violence and communities suffering disproportionately, and suicides. I guess I just really want to say that we can't rely on the state to do this, and we can't rely on one entity to do this. We've gone to the Capitol. We've had extreme risk protection bills filed. We've had bills filed to require background checks on all gun sales, reporting of lost and stolen guns. There was a bill to create a state Office of Violence Prevention last session. And then in the third special session, we went and tried to advocate for the use of ARPA dollars, rescue plan dollars, to go toward initiatives like this, to community violence intervention. All of those things, none of those things were advanced by our state policymakers. We're going to go back again and again and again for as long as it takes, and our coalition's only growing and the need is only becoming stronger, but we really need this investment here locally. Yeah, you all know that we've talked about this already today, that we have an Austin Office of Violence Prevention, and my understanding is that just founded a little over a year ago, it's now fully staffed. It has a budget of over $2 million. There's youth programs funded at almost $800,000, and then the safe storage campaign at almost $200,000. So they're kind of scratching the surface. They really could do more, because each of those programs is going to target one need, one group. But we really, as it's been said here today, need to attack the problem from all sides. It's a that and. That's how I always view this issue. I really see that Travis County could be a leader. We have only a couple of hospital-based violence intervention programs in the state. I think that they're both in San Antonio, as far as I know, unless anything's changed, and they were pretty recently launched. So we can really be a leader. We can be a model for other cities to launch this initiative, to ensure that we are working with victims and perpetrators of crime in every way possible. Through the leadership of those with lived experience. We need local tailored solutions, and that's exactly what this is, to stop the cycle of violence in our community and to set the stage for doing that across the state. So thank you so much for considering this and making these investments and commitments, and I'm happy to answer questions or talk some more with my colleagues.
Thanks, Nicole. Jose, we'll go to questions now. Does that work?
Absolutely.
Okay. Commissioner Gomez, do you have any questions?
No, not right now.
Okay. Commissioner Shea?
Yeah, I've been exploring with Councilmember Vanessa Fuentes the potential for creating a trauma recovery center here. And there's been interesting data from other places around the country where they've done that. I'd like your thoughts on it. I didn't see it particularly referenced in the presentation. If you have experience with it, I'd just like your thoughts on the effectiveness of it.
I mean, I've heard nothing but positive things about TRCs, and they're essential in our communities, and there's been some areas where it's been in urban areas. All I've heard is the benefits of it, honestly.
And I'll just say briefly from the perspective of the District Attorney's Office, we deeply support the concept of a trauma recovery center here in Travis County. The specific strategies we are talking about today I think are incredibly important, but they are focused on people who have experienced gun violence. And I can tell you just on my walk over here, I encounter every single day victims of crime generally who live with the residue trauma of that crime and who are susceptible unless we provide them the help we need. And finally, just want to say how much I appreciate your leadership on that issue and remind the court that our office has pledged a small amount of money, but some money from our budget to the creation of a TRC here in Travis County.
Dr. Fisher, do you have any experience with a trauma recovery center?
Yeah, we work with the Coalition for Trauma Recovery Centers nationally. And they're a great complement to hospital-based violence intervention programs. So actually in San Francisco, they have a HVIP and a TRC in the same community. The trauma recovery centers tend to have a little bit more of a focus on sexual violence and child abuse and things like that. So they're complementary strategies, but they work together rather than one or the other. As you might imagine, for a lot of victims of community violence, who are young men in general, sometimes depending on which clients need assistance, it may make sense that women and victims of intimate partner violence go to the TRC, whereas community violence intervention survivors go to the HVIP, so that everyone isn't going to the exact same place for the benefit of the clients. And that's, there's a lot of complexity to that, but TRCs are good. They're a good complementary strategy towards victim services, but a little bit of a different angle.
And then are you seeing any more of an investment at the national level in either more funds for victim services or any funding for this kind of violence interruption, trauma recovery, that kind of thing?
Yes, absolutely. Absolutely. Now actually is probably the best time ever from the federal perspective to invest in community violence intervention. The biggest investment that has kind of gone under the radar actually is funds through the American Rescue Plan, ARPA funds. At this point, there have been roughly $2 billion of ARP funds that have been used for this. Additionally, in the federal budget, they've started to create line items for community violence intervention. Right now it's through the DOJ. In the upcoming FY 2023 budget, there's CDC and DOJ money that is in there. Last year was $50 million. The bipartisan Safer Communities Act actually created $250 million over 5 years. So there is going to be a sustained investment, and that's something that is kind of growing and becoming more apparent.
Great, thank you.
And if I can, just on that point, just to emphasize Dr. Fisher's point, the Biden administration has released specific guidance that ARPA dollars are intended to combat gun violence in communities across the country. So we'd be happy to share that documentation, but just to support Dr. Fisher's point.
That would be great. Actually, we're going through community applications, our staff is, through community applications for the ARPA funding. First, they needed to get through the budget process because we're very lean and we have a very small budget staff. But they will, I think they're beginning to go through those community applications now. So that guidance from the Biden administration would be really helpful. And you can share it with my office and we can send it to the budget staff that are doing the evaluation.
We absolutely will.
Thank you.
Commissioner.
Okay, a couple of things. We just found out yesterday that of the $100 million that was designated by the governor's office to go to mental health issues, only $7 million of it is actually going to provide mental health services for youth. So I think that's probably an issue that mothers can talk to the governor about in terms of, I understand the need to harden facilities and to have doors locked, but if you're not talking to youth and helping them prepare for interventions when people are coming at them, I think that you're not honestly looking at what's needed. And I'm not saying this as a criticism, but as I look through the report, I think that we have to demonstrate this problem as not only a black and brown problem, but a community problem, because a lot of the shooters that are going to our schools are not black and brown. So I want to make sure that we are looking at all communities and talking about how we work on this together. As we have developed our policies for affordable housing, because a lot of people can no longer afford to live in Austin and they're being pushed to the outskirts where there's very little access to public transit, very little access to recreation centers, very little access to all of the things that make a city a city. And I think the list that you put together, we look at that as prevention. It's not just a house, it's all the things that are provided in a neighborhood that give kids an opportunity. I think we have to link those things as well, because ultimately that can become prevention. And maybe a good place to provide prevention is our public schools, which every community has. So how do we make sure that we're addressing the needs that are occurring in the streets, but we're putting a level of supervision and access and opportunity with our kids so they're not enticed by, and because a lot of this is, it is the new McDonald's. Scrambling on the streets is the new McDonald's job. And we've got to make sure that people know that there is an opportunity to get access to work, and that's why our community policing efforts are so important, as we've discussed. How do we get our constables' offices, our sheriff's offices, APD, our DA's offices working together in community so that we are working on prevention rather than dealing with the results of no intervention. So I appreciate the material that was brought forward. I think it tells us that some of the things that we have been working on are moving in the right direction, but we need more. So we are very interested in hearing how we can do things to benefit the community and stem this flow of violence that we're seeing.
Commissioner Howard?
Yeah, thank you. Mr. Kerr, I really appreciated the summit we had in the summertime and learning about the hospital initiative. I wondered if Dr. Fisher or yourself had any experience in really lining up all the resources then needed that you mentioned that the individual needs. The White House has also said that ARPA dollars are good to address homelessness, and as a court, we've invested over $1 million to help create more housing. $100 million, yes. And what we know in our community, what's hard is to bring the three legs to the stool all at the same time. You might have an apartment, but you don't have rental assistance, or you have rental assistance, but you don't have health care, and then you don't have a job training program. So have you seen any best practices to make sure that, Dr. Fisher, when you have that client in front of you, you can really fulfill the needs to help them have that second chance?
Yeah, that's a wonderful question. I can start out, I'll take it from kind of the local program perspective, and then I'll take it to Norman for the city perspective. So a few years ago, I launched a hospital-based violence intervention programs with some of my colleagues in Prince George's County, Maryland. And one of the first things that you do is you create a huge system for creating a needs assessment for the individual patients. And as you might imagine, that list can be very, very long. And I think that's what you're getting at, right? So housing, insurance, it goes down to things like driver's licenses, because we find that guys can't get jobs because they can't get there because there's no bus route there, and they need, an ID. So the first thing we do is we create a huge inventory of what that is. And then one of the beauties of the program is it creates someone that's on the job to identify people in the community that can deliver those services. So our program manager, one of her jobs and our frontline violence prevention professionals' jobs when we were getting started before we launched was to go to all of these community partners to make sure that they had good, strong services and were ready to take care of our patients. So if there's a job center in one place, are they actually giving jobs to our people, and are they open to it? If someone is saying that they have supportive housing, is that something they can follow through on? So the programs themselves end up creating this internal list and coordinating with all sorts of different city agencies to figure out, where are the resources hidden that may be hard to access, and how can we do it? And then the programs end up being a liaison between many of the different areas. So like a good example is, although we don't do criminal justice work, our violence prevention professionals ended up being kind of the go-to person between some of our patients and their parole officers, and helping keep people out of jail because of tiny little minor things that could have spiraled out of control. So that's the program side of it. Let me kick it to Norman for the city side, because it is challenging. And yeah, there's a lot of legs to that stool that you mentioned.
Yeah, and I think one of the challenges is understanding liability, and sometimes it limits hospitals or organizations because they just don't want to touch it. It just seems too complex. And what we're seeing is that there's been some programs around the country that really have a good blueprint of how they operate. So for instance, just to give you an example, COVID was a time where it changed the hospital response. Like, people can even go into a hospital, so the workers are standing out in parking lots, waiting to just have access to the families when they're going to the emergency room and so forth. But what we've seen is that there's been more programs, more hospitals that have carved out a space for outreach workers, intervention workers that are on the street, because their information, when they get the information about the victims, they're trying to prevent the next retaliatory incident, right? So there's been more coordination than we've seen in the past. There's a lot of benefits to this program, but really the long-term support is something that is important. We have individuals that come in, and many of them are vulnerable at a time where they've been injured, and if we don't get on that individual and to provide some support at that time, we may lose them. Now, we have, as Dr. Fisher mentioned earlier, we got individuals that have been shot multiple times, and we want to mitigate that as much as possible. So,
thank you.
Thanks. Yeah, I just wanted to, Nicole, I think you mentioned the part about the gun deaths in Travis County, how both suicides and homicides, the leading cause in both of those categories is gun deaths. And that this is, I mean, I love that comparison to COVID. This is such a massive problem, and like you said, not just a law enforcement issue, but something that we need to frankly do more of everything that the state of Texas is shirking their duties on, and frankly pushing it more to the local level in so many ways. So thanks for highlighting these issues and giving us some guidance on what has worked other places and what might be able to work here. I really appreciate your work. Jose, do you have any other parts?
Just one last word from my perspective. Again, I'm so incredibly thankful for your time. Again, we have one more visit with you, I believe, in 2 weeks. Last week, we learned about a specific strategy to prevent guns used in acts of gun violence from being used a second and third time. Today, we learned about a strategy that can prevent people who are shot during an act of gun violence from being shot a second or third time. And in 2 weeks, we will be learning about strategies to prevent people who are accused of committing acts of gun violence from committing acts of gun violence a second or third time. Really grateful for your time.
Thank you all very much.
Thank you all.
Really appreciate it.
Thank you.
Thank you for being here today. Thank you, Dr. Fisher.
Thanks for listening in as we brought you this briefing held by the Travis County Commissioners discussing gun violence prevention in our area. This is the second of 3 briefings. There will be a third that will be held in 2 weeks. We heard there from the district attorney, and we will continue to cover that. So today, again, focused on intervention programs to prevent people who have already been shot from being shot again. And what steps some of the other communities in our country have done to be able to address that specifically. So again, there will be a session held in 2 weeks. These 3 briefings were announced after the deadly school shooting in Uvalde, and of course we'll keep following them, so please stay with us here on KXAN and KXAN.com. I'm Will Dupree in the KXAN Live studio. We appreciate you sticking with us for as long as you have today. We'll see you back here at another time. Hope you all stay safe and healthy out there, and take care.